They deliver you back to Smith, Jones, and Johnson. Name denotes possession. You want to be European? Go ahead, go serve Rome. Well, I want to be free because in the Missouri Territory, it's a free state. It ain't got nothing to do with your status is dead. We don't get it yet. This is what this is all about. See, so if you don't know yourself, or if you're mentally disconnected from your state, in a legal perspective, you don't have right of claimant. You can't talk property when you don't own yourself. Slave can't own property.
Right.
See, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do me a UCC, see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna secure my property. I'm gonna be the secured holder in due course. Smith, Jones, and Johnson? No, you ain't. And it goes back to the same principle where a lot of Europeans are using uniform commercial codes, etc., setting up sovereignty groups, talking about they sovereign Christians. That's a political system. Ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. That judge is a Mason. He already knows. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? In secret, he got a Moorish fez. They just ruling over your land. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They got to pin their tassel down, but they're all mystic prophets. They Renaissance men. They know that the Moors brought them out of darkness from the 13th to the 16th century.
All right, pin your tassel.
The 7 liberal arts.
Pin your tassel down. What does that mean?
Pin the top. Like if you see anybody in them lodges, their tassels are pinned.
And why is that?
See, brother, stand up
Swings, right?
and roll your tassel.
That's right. I know your brother's tassels be swinging, so that's why I
Yeah,
asked
because
you about that.
we're the heirs.
Okay, oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
The tassel
So we
pin
can
down
revolve around the sun.
The tassel pin down for them is because they're sworn to secrecy.
In other words, it's locked down.
Oh, okay, right, gotcha.
All right, can't talk.
Right.
Zip lip.
Right,
Do you understand?
got it.
All right, now see, so that's why when Martin started talking about the Great Seal,
Oh, he remembers. I was there. I was not a martyr.
32-degree Mason, 33 really.
Okay.
You know, got a certificate with a holy name saying Assalamu alaikum. That's why he started talking about the mountaintop. Well, you can't talk on the Don. You can't serve two masters. And overseers don't have retirement communities. Everybody knows. It's just they ain't really trying to liberate the followers. That's what the problem is. They enjoy all the benefits and the kickbacks.
But look what you got. You got garbage, and you think it's all right. This is what I don't understand.
Well, it's like this.
Things we could really have.
Well, some people are willing to give up their birthright for a few pieces of silver. And they ain't even allowed to have the silver or gold. They get slugs. I got them paid. And you tell them what? Some of them ain't been paid in a long time. But anyway, in support for everybody, so that our concepts are correct, right? This is Georgie. And you already know Chief Justice Muali suggested that he take Ben Franklin's place because they were all set as ministers plenipotentiary when the treaty was being formulated. And so Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson were set to be the first European praetors under the Republic after the formulation of the Ordinance of 1787. Then the adoption of the Constitution 1788 is what Obama's talking about. You understand what I'm saying to you? And then so he was an Army general. And because Ben Franklin claimed to be ill, George was suggested to be appointed. He wasn't elected, he was appointed to the palace on the word of Chief Justice Muali, who you may know as Ben Banneker. You understand? You see his Masonic garb? Now, this is from Documents of American History. It's not going to be in your ordinary school books. This is a controlled stock book. Not this particular lesson book, but I'm just saying the Documents of American History, that's for all you scholars. If y'all want to do some research, you're not going to easily find it. But for those who have access, this is where you'll find it. Now, letter from George Washington to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Sultan of Morocco, City of New York, December 1, 1789. And as you already know, he was appointed to the palace April of that same year. So as you know, he's been in office about 7 months, right? All right. Now, since the date, great and magnanimous friend, since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed your Imperial Majesty, so you can see from the first line that he was not the first president, but you know that the masses are under the illusion that George Washington was the first president, because that's what they're taught. So immediately you can see that the masses are miseducated. So you already know they're out of sequence, out of time, out of harmony, and are not up with the rest of the civilized world. So there's no way that their children are going to compete with anybody. But they're going to tell you about Jesus, God, Allah, Moses, Muhammad, and they don't even know what's going on in front of them. This is the source of their injury and their sickness. Go ahead, good brother.
Excuse me. Can you bring that picture back? Can you take it up?
Oh, this is what?
Yeah. They found this in Akhenaten's grave in the Second Dynasty. This is the Mason, because we are Masons. That's what they built with. And the robe was found on him too. Everything you see here
All the garb
is all your stuff. They took it out of the grave in Kemet, and they put it on themselves, and they brought it here. All this belongs to you. Even the steps here. That's your square.
Now the cubes or the checkered floor, that's Asar Aset, upper world, underworld. The day and the night. All right? Sunset, sunrise. Are we clear? Higher self, lower self. Duality. Feminine, masculine. Are we clear?
I see. I check it.
Now, since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America, I've thought proper to change their government and institute a new one agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great though peaceable revolution will apologize and account for your Majesty's not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. United States having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation, your Majesty's letter of August the 17th, 1788, which by reason of the dissolution of the late government remained unanswered, has been delivered to me. I have also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis and Tripoli, and I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation who have never injured them is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. Within our territories there are no mines, whether of gold or silver, and this young nation, just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war, have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce, but our soil is bountiful and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement with which your Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. So where do you think that you're standing, you all?
Moorish dominions.
These are Moorish dominions. Now you understand the seals on the back of that note and why nobody speaks under the Great Seal? The punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed. See what Obama was talking about when he went to Ecupta? And the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for and attachment to your Imperial Majesty. So as you can see, the United States of America is an appendage of the Moroccan Empire, and you're the Masonic secret. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your Majesty that while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsists between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your majesty of the high sense which in common with the whole nation I entertain the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your majesty. May the Almighty bless your imperial majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection. Just the opening statement on the preamble. And so I'm sure that you will recognize these names of these ministers plenipotentiary, even though they don't teach our children in school, so you can understand the relationship that you actually have with this government that's not being taught to you, and that you are actually the sovereigns who have actually been overthrown, and why the so-called black leaders are paid to keep feeding that black and white stuff to you, because they don't want you to know that you are the Moors, the heirs to this estate. And by hiding this information, they can declare you incompetent and then slowly kill you off with biological warfare, which is what the King Alfred is. And that's why they have black leaders running around with their fake spirituality, because spirituality means breath and the art of breathing. Are we clear? Spirituality is not praying. It means breath, the art of breath, the techniques of breathing, the cleansing of the cells by breathing techniques. Religion is the philosophy that goes with it. They go together, but yet they're separate subject matters. The masses are being played, have been played, and are still being played by the priesthood. If you kill the mystery, the priesthood can't do their dirty deeds no more. And they and their mystery Satan can both be buried in their grave pit that they prepared for you. Preamble, Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, 1787. Keep in mind, Ordinance of 1787, then the adoption of the Constitution for United States of America, 1788, 1789. You see where Georgie is making reference to correspondence even to 1788. So the Constitution was adopted. The principles already existed. It's adopted from Muslim law. You see what Obama was talking about? With many people just went over their head what he was talking about. And he's sending messages to you because he's limited. He's only a figurehead like the rest of them. See, so he has to play what you call fine line, but he's been doing the best he can to send signals to you.
Yeah. Question. So what's this whole thing now, with this anti-Islamic thing
That's the Inquisition operations.
Okay.
ISIS is run from Langley, Virginia,
Right.
and from Ankara, Turkey, from their embassy. This is why, now keep in mind, I want you to look at this. Hold that thought. Hold this thought. I'm going to go to Hillary's picture from the Ben Franklin room. We're going to read this first part, and then we'll show you something. To all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America in Congress assembled by their commission bearing date, the 12th day of May, 1784, thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, their ministers plenipotentiary, giving to them, or majority of them, full powers to confer, treat, negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, to make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting to the United States in Congress assembled for their final ratification. So you already know that they don't teach Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin in this context to our children in school. They have no idea that they are subordinate to the Moroccan Empire,
No way, that won't happen.
which is these people who are put in slavery who think they Indians and blacks,
Yes.
who don't know their bloodline. Do you understand? And they wonder why they've been robbed, why we poor. You've been robbed. This is why they have in the Masonic order the ritual with Hiram Abiff, struck in the head, jubilo, jubilo, jubilum. England, Ireland, France. Yeah. Now let's keep this in mind. This is where they get the title that they use in their lodges, potentate. Ministers, plenipotentiary. Most plentiful powers. Oh, yeah, right. Now, keep in mind what you just read, right? Just that little part, right? Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. Now, you know Hillary's a DAR, right? Everybody know that. During the American Revolution. Now, you know they was doing gun running with that embassy. And when they burned that embassy, being a DAR, she spoke from the Ben Franklin room. That's private. They don't make any public speeches from the minister's plenipotentiary rooms. Why is Hillary speaking from the Ben Franklin room and displaying the real American flag 3 times? Do you get the message? Oh, we're not really holding slavery here. We didn't really, it's not really. Well, yes, they are. But that's a message to the world. Do you understand? And then they'll turn around and talk about, oh, they don't know who the Moors are. Oh, they don't know the lands of Morocco. The Stars and Stripes is the amity and commerce flag that's mentioned in the treaty. That red flag with the 5-pointed green star is the Moroccan flag, the American flag. The great Masonic secret, again, right in your face. Now you understand the red ruby slippers, Dorothy?
Yeah, I got it now. Yes.
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 Lion of Judah, ain't got no courage. Straw man, 14th Amendment. Tin Man, Rusty, they cribbed your industry. Yellow brick road, Zodiac Constitution right in the courtyard of City Hall right here in Philadelphia, where they have the Mummers Parade. The ending of the parade at the Grand Lodge, 1 North Broad Street. And the City Hall battleground, designed just like a mosque, with the parapet at the north gate, with Billy Penn chartered, standing 23.5 degrees east by northeast, facing the lodge, and the parade ends.
Right.
And the cornerstone is in a grave pit right in the dark north, with men holding up the pillars of Atlas, Morocco. They're talking to you even in the architecture. Then you have the birth canal, west, go west, young man, Horace Greeley. And then you got the birth canal with the nations of the earth on both sides of the birth canal up into the Museum of Art with Eakins oval at the steps. And from the air, the museum is M, Mother.
Wow.
Go ahead, good brother.
Peace. Can I add on to that?
Go ahead, good brother.
Facing south, they have so-called slaves under the pillars, but above the slaves are statues of people, of so-called pharaohs.
Yeah, sure. And then you got the animals. Yeah. What was one of our favorite pets? Elephant? Oh, all right.
So facing
Goodness.
south, what's above the archway?
It's,
If you go out that south gate and you look up, what's above the archway?
I see the two.
No, it's a word.
He said this.
It's a word, justice.
Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Only above the south gate.
Oh yeah, the south side.
Yeah, only above that south gate.
Yes.
Y'all got to take the opportunity to go down to City Hall and check out what Taj is telling you, because it's right there, it's in your face. Just walk around the building. I mean, look up. Look at the architecture that's outside of the building.
Like when I was looking up, I've seen it for years, but I didn't really see the pharaohs or the people of Kemet at the top until I would start chilling out in the Borders. And I was up in the section when Borders had a bookstore. I would be up there at the book section, and it's a section over there closer to the window, and you can clearly see it. The man and the woman dressed in the whole Kemetic attire. But you're like, wow.
Getting in your face.
There's going to be some transfer, so we're projecting. Yes, I know. Oh. Anyway, so this is to, it's two things, sis. See, so if you, I, or anyone else claim to be Indians or Native American or any of the code words, brands that they created, you give up your birthright. You see? Because the only way you can use the common law is the honor of your mothers and fathers. You are either in honor or you're in dishonor. And that's how the common law is used. Thus, a lot of Europeans got frustrated. That's why you see a lot of so-called wealthy Europeans. What have they done? They denounce their U.S. citizenship, go to some other nation state and try to nationalize and try to move an account there. Then with House Joint Resolution 2847, they lock them in. And they taken, what, 55 to 60% of all of their stuff? And they're not opening up any new so-called American accounts in all of Europe, Africa, anywhere else. So they're kind of locked in. Now, let's review what you just said. Are they Americans? Can they be sovereign here? No. This is very simple. So, I mean, the traps they set for us is now trapping them.
Well, when you really look at the society, if you pay close attention, a lot of the stuff they bring our way, it comes right back in their face.
Exactly.
Case in point, heroin.
But look at us, collectively. Why is it that we continue to suffer? We continue to suffer because we refuse to honor our mothers and our fathers. We keep continuously trying to declare to the civilized world that human beings are crayons. We put it on our babies. They get destroyed, and then we blame it on the devil, because that's what we learned from the overseers, keep telling you that, who are really working for Rome, helping in the genocide of your families, so they can get a skull and bones 501c3 kickback, and telling you that that's their blessing from God for teaching the word.
Well, the churches now, they're telling them they're going to have to pay taxes. Have you read that lately?
Because they're broke.
They're full of crap, and they got what do you call what do you call those machines?
ATM machine.
ATM.
Oh, in the church?
On the mega churches. Those mega churches, yeah. Tithe is a tax.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Tithe means that means 10% Roman tax. Ain't got nothing to do with no Jesus. It's Pope Sylvester II. 10% Roman tax for their overseas set in the state. Please. They tax.
Wasn't it a Creflo Dollar that said people who don't pay their taxes should be shot?
He said,
Oh yeah, go to YouTube. He said if it was up to him, he'd line them up and shoot them down with automatic weapons.
he's trying to get a new jet. That's probably why.
Yeah, what, a $20 million jet?
Yeah.
So you don't think you're
Well,
going
they
to
shoot him down with that one.
I want you to know, you just said honor your mothers and your fathers. So, as a collective, do we honor them at an altar? Do we honor them? How would you honor them?
By being yourself.
It was given to you.
Okay, so I'm being myself, but.
All right, what does that mean?
So taking, so.
No, what does that mean? Because it has a meaning in law.
Okay.
See, because people say that does not mean that they're either worthy or that they're truthful. Because if one is being oneself, you're being in propria persona, and sui juris, and thus sui heritis. So what is being yourself?
Claiming your name.
Meaning, no, that's minor. That's like kind of straightening up the sheet on your bed, not necessarily cleaning your room. But when universally, in law, nations are extended families, the honor of your mothers and fathers go back to time immemorial, not just current or saying because I'm Afrocentric or something like that. That means you must have an idea what the culture is, and it must be reflective of you. And you must, do you know about the Renaissance? What that means? What does Renaissance mean? It means to be born again. That's where they get that in their great circle, which is called a church. Church means the circle. Do you know what the circle is? There's nothing wrong with not knowing, but I'm just saying, so don't assume that people, when they say they know themselves or they're being themselves, that they are. Because if they are, they know these things because they know that's the foundation of culture on the planet. And the one who's controlling their estate, they know what they're using. They know why they have that sphinx head and the Moorish sword above that crescent above that sphinx head. So if you know yourself, you're already familiar with this and you could deduce it yourself. See, because if you know yourself, you know the culture and you know how we got here. And you also know how we got to get out. So you would never be slipping up calling these people black and then having to qualify yourself afterwards. And you wouldn't slip out and call this European sovereign by calling him white man and say, oh, but you know what I mean. You wouldn't even slip making those kind of statements. As soon as you do, you've lost your argument. And you're back into wardship. And so you want to make sure that we don't pass that poison to our children or to the other people who really don't know what's going on, but think they are Afrocentric because they say so. They can't live it, they can't demonstrate it in law, they're just talking. It's like saying, you know, I'm a surgeon, man, you got a headache? My boy here, he tight, man, so come on in and he'll fix you up. And he said, oh, yeah, man, I've got a headache and everything. Lay upon the table. Let me place my hands upon thee. And they rolled out this dirty towel with rusty butter knives. I think you should get up and run while you're ahead. Just because they say they're surgeon, you should know what the tools are and should recognize them immediately. So don't assume that because somebody declared their name and their nationality that they know themselves. What that means is that they're making the effort to the civilized world to demonstrate to the civilized world that I'm trying to show that I'm in honor. I'm speaking up. I'm not abandoning my estate. Now, what do you do after you start cleaning the floor? You got to start arranging your furniture back. And if they see you ain't able to do that, you're not competent yet. You'll still be classified as colored. A semblance, a simulacrum, distinguished from that which is real. That's why these people are classified as colored people, which means fake people. Do you understand? And so you need to know why even these categories are even created for people who are in dishonor. And they think it's an identity. You see? So what, if you know yourself, you already know what these tools are and what they're used for. And you also know how to cut them off to redeem your people. That's the first signal of you knowing yourself. All right? And the Renaissance is where the Moors from the 13th century to the 16th century went into Europe and brought the European out of darkness into marvelous light, i.e., to wash away what is called the medieval period of ignorance set forth by the popes of Rome. What they have done since here is reverse the table and put our people into darkness. That's what the black codes are. See, so if you know what's up, you can tell who's amongst you, who's COINTELPRO operatives for Rome, just by their language. Because culture is in the language. And so if you know yourself, you already know the game because you know the deck. You know, oh yeah, we keep losing. You talking about you going down to AC, we got our, you know, this is my daughter's old maid deck. You know, the one with the gold fringe around there. We going down to AC, we're gonna come back with a Corvette. And then you say, Taj, I think you should save your bus fare. No, man, I'm spending everything because I'm coming back and get paid. They say, what Taj you got, man? He ain't came back yet. Oh, we passed him on the highway, he walking. He just spent his lunch money. He come back with nothing, going down there, impressed with yourself with your old maid car, gonna go down to AC and win. And this is what we do with our so-called beliefs. Go into the civilized world, think we're gonna come out being winners and we always get screwed. Then we wanna march and pray and start some new nigger group to march and pray and have vigils. The first signal that these people don't know themselves. This is why we have to take you to stuff like this, to let you know the whole world already knows who you are. They're waiting on you. Only thing holding you up is your own people. And we busy keep trying to be somebody we're not. And everybody's sucking on us. while we, get around to it. So if you know yourself, you just be yourself. And it changes the energy around you. And then you transfer that to others. When the mind changes, you'll change the atmosphere, because it's all about energy and vibration. Change the vibration, the sicknesses go away. The sicknesses exist because the mental state is dead. It's not because of the viruses. They can't beat you. They only beat you because your immune system is down, because your mind is down. You see? So this is really mundane, to be honest with you. Because you're actually going to move far beyond this, truthfully. But it is only a stage to clean up some of the trash out of the people's mental, so that they can move on to some higher degrees. But unless we sweep the floor, we ain't getting rid of the roaches. So this is to get rid of the roaches. Misconceptions. But after you get rid of this, don't linger on this, because this is really behind the times. But it's just that we got to clean the people's head up so they can spiritually and metaphysically deal with other information that will bring other solutions. But if you don't take the aggregate trash out, it's like throwing clean water in a cup of a dirty cup with dirty, muddy stuff in it. So you got to dump out that other stuff. And people aren't exactly willing to do that. So this is sort of like reducing the trash. But understand, you're going to graduate far beyond this. This is only for cleansing purposes only. In fact, it's very mundane, but necessary for the moment. Because if we don't clean the aggregate, you're not going to do any refinement. That's all. So I'm just telling you that also ahead of time. You understand? See, so if you can get the people to understand, to get mentally reconnected to this land, to themselves, the vampires can't work too good. It's sort of like this window compared to that window. As soon as you bring light in, vampires, they get kind of different. Really. They're not too good in light. And knowledge is light. You start telling the truth, their eyebrows start wrinkling. They start getting angry. They start, boogies start running and stuff. It's for real. You take this information around a lot of people that's smiling and keep talking about the Lord and Jesus and Allah, and if you start talking this information and watch the expression on their face turn, they'll morph right in front of you. Demons will be exposed. They get really upset. They start farting and everything. Anyway.
I got a question right quick. And I want y'all to be honest. Just raise your hands, show of hands. How many people refer to themselves as black? Just be honest. How many people in this room refer to yourselves as black? Be honest. Put your hands back up so I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've been in class with us for a long time, so you know better.
Yeah, I know.
But for those of you and you know better too. That's my sister I'm pointing to. So y'all know she knows better. Right? The reason I asked that question is this. I understand what we've been taught, and I understand that we've been indoctrinated. I too used to call myself black. After my very first class with him and Abdullah Bey, I never uttered it again. Once I understood that it was a legal status that said that I was dead, civilly dead in the eyes of the law, when I understood that it says I don't matter to anybody else but to other black people, I was done with saying it. It's a legal status. If I ask people all the time, what's your nationality? And either they'll stutter, or they'll say I don't know, or they'll say African American. And then I ask them, well, where's Africa American? And they can't tell me. So then I tell them about their nationality. And then I talk to them about being black. I understand, it's emotional. People say that bad habits are hard to break. but habits can be broken. Habits can be broken. If I've been eating meat, knowing it's dead, and it can't bring me life, once I understand that it can't bring me life and it can't nourish my body, I should stop eating. They say people, when you know better, you do better. Well, people are supposed to stop at stop signs, but they don't do it. When you know better, you should do better. I can't say when you know better, you do better, because people don't. People don't. I understand the emotionalism behind saying we're black. Black power, unity, and all of that other nonsense. But where's it going to get us? Where has it got us? Nowhere. When Ralph Bunche went to the United Nations as a black man, they sent him home. Just a little while ago, what's the brother's name that got shot in St. Louis? Michael Brown. When Michael Brown's mother and father went to the United Nations to plead their case, they got sent home. And everybody was upset. Why did they send them home? Because they went up there as black people. Black people
Nobody
don't
said
exist.
anything about it.
You know why nobody ain't say nothing about it?
Especially A. Sharpton.
You know why anybody say nothing about it? Because then it has to be explained.
Right.
Now it's got to be explained. Why don't you want to hear from black people? Why they say black lives don't matter? You damn right they don't matter. They don't exist.
Never even bring it up.
We are a nation of people.
Nobody asks.
We are a nation of people. Good, bad, or indifferent. We are a nation of people. People say, oh, I can't, that's not my religion. Listen, understand what true religion is. And understand what doctrine is. Follow whatever doctrine you want. I don't care. Understand who you are. You come from a nation of people. You don't come from a color of people. Only on this land, listen, I've been to Europe 4 times. Nobody in Europe has ever called me black. Ever. And we talking about Europeans, the people y'all call white. They never call me black, not once. They wait for me to speak, and they hear my dialect, and they say, you're American. If I was from Jamaica or somewhere else in the Caribbean, they would hear that. If I was from the west coast of Africa or the east coast of Africa, they could hear that, the same as you can. And they would say, oh, you West African, or you East African. No, they said I was American. They never called me black. It's only here. It's only us. It's a legal status. Look it up. If you need more information, then come see me. We got a host of DVDs over there with all of this information on it. All these websites.
With DN.
All of these books with all this information on it. The reason I asked about black is because, now I know some people didn't raise their hands, probably out of embarrassment, or they didn't want to be pointed out, but ain't nobody here to embarrass y'all. We're here to uplift fallen humanity because we fell. Now it's time for us to get the hell up.
Got that right.
Y'all ready to stand on your feet?
Yes.
I mean,
Y'all ready to make some things happen?
Yep.
Then let's make some things happen.
I mean, that's it.
You want to change the people, you got to change their literature, change the way they think, change the way they move, change the way they operate. Until you change your thinking, you ain't going to change nothing else. Your children going to come up in the same rut that we in right now. The same rut that we in right now. If y'all want to get out, then let's get out. I'm saying it's as simple as that. If you want to get out, then let's get out. First step, knowing yourself, correct your status. Correct your legal status. Because as long as you keep running around saying, I'm black, she's white, this, that, you're going to stay where you at. They're going to continue to look at you and treat you and operate the way they want to. You can run around and chase after all these UCC packets and all of that other nonsense. They're charging y'all how many hundreds of notes. Or you can come here and you can get the truth from me, from Taj, and from whoever else, and we ain't charging you a damn thing. When JW passed around that sheet, donations are accepted, but not mandatory. We ain't charging you to walk through that door. We welcoming you through the door. Why? Because we need to uplift our people. If y'all want to get up, then let's get up. Islam.
Thank you, brother. And keep in mind that the Europeans are operating under rules of bottomry contracts. Sister Anissa and Brother Nabi's in the back, and they got your colors there. Always fly your colors. Keep in mind, and your pins, and anybody needs feathers, etc., go see Brother Nabi and Sister Anissa. Keep that in mind. And if you need something later, get cards from them so you can communicate with them later in the future. I hope we got enough on there. Anyway, now before you, you have a copy of the trust and the quitclaim deed. I'm gonna move fast because we have some good company here. A good friend, Brother Shemaiah. Stand up, good brother. Yeah. But goes way back. Very enlightened brother. Very low key, but very enlightened. He's a scholar too. So keep in mind, so keep communicating with him. So I'm going to try to move on so he can share with us some information that he has to help uplift fallen humanity. In front of you is the deed of trust. I mean, your quitclaim deed. As we went through House Joint Resolution 192, as you recall, we didn't go through the whole thing, but keep in mind, they hypothecated with the operations set forth by Woodrow Wilson in 1913, all properties, all labor, all parks, all so-called assets under House Joint Resolution 92. That refers to actually what was done in 1871 with the hypothecation, or what they call the overthrow, the coup. That's what's made reference in 192, and that Tropicana is talking about. This is why this is done. This is giving you a pattern, whereas you can take the coordinates of your house, your property, etc., make your claim, file it in the county. Under miscellaneous, are we clear? Because it's a state. Understand the straw is also an estate. This is why you must speak of the straw secondary to yourself, and you must be in your proper person. And say, for people who have difficulty learning or getting the concept, this would be a pattern for you to initiate, like on an immediate tip for yourself or your families. But we always make available to you other information so that you can make reference to the legal terms, because you must be competent in what's being presented. Are we clear? You also must be competent in the real history so that when they try to counter you, you can put them in their place. Because as soon as they test you and they see that you really don't know what the swell you're talking about, they're going to put a barrister knight on you called the Bar Association. And of course, a man who can't present him or herself will be represented by another man. Particularly people who are using their names. All right? So this is to aid you and help you. So let's go along with this. Somebody get up and read the first part. Anybody volunteers? And speak loudly. Did I hear a pin drop on this carpet?
You asked for volunteers for? To read?
I don't have one.
Anybody know how to read?
All right.
I read it.
Now, the trust is on the front, but oh, we just got the trust, not the quitclaim deed. All right, so the trust. Anyway, listen. Everything that you allege to own, so-called houses, property, etc., is put in the corporate state trust. Are you aware? Everybody aware of that? Huh? All right, you know, like say you buy, you make a transaction and get a vehicle, and you're operating under the concept that you own it. Well, they give you a certificate of title, which is a designation that there's a title existing somewhere. It is not the title. The original manufacturer's title of origin is presented to the corporate state under the doctrine of discovery. And they put it in their corporate trust for the popes of Rome under the Spanish Inquisition. Are we clear? You don't have the title. Are we clear? Also, we're going to create an instrument, although we've done it before. You can do it in ordinary letter form, to the CEO of the corporate entity operatives in the territories that you might domicile, and command that they send you the original manufacturer's title of origin to the vehicle, your car, your truck, your bicycle, motorcycle, three-wheel, tricycle, whatever. Tell them send you stuff. Are we clear? And then put it in your trust. Are we clear? So you take your house with its coordinates, etc., put it on your trust, understand? Take your sneaks, the ones that got the diamonds in the back, that light up when you run, put them in your trust. Are we clear? Anything of any value, because anything that has any value is already hypothecated by the deputy knights, who are really front men for the deputy knights of the popes of Rome under the Roman Curia. Those front men are called congressmen and senators, whose posts don't really exist. The real Congress for the United States Corporation is the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. Shadow government. Are we clear? Knowing that, don't fool yourself, don't get twisted. Are we clear? If you understand what's really going on, understand what everybody knows already but you. Are we clear?
Clear.
This is what this is for. When you start dispensing this information in law, you're demonstrating that the heirs of the estate are competent, that they're heirs and they're speaking up, although suppressed. By law, national and international, the administrators of the trust must release the estate to the competent heirs, for they are now, in law, descendable. That means the land and the resources. And of course, all instruments that they have around the world, which would include those birth certificates, where they took the baby's foundation, which is their footprint, and stamped it, and then said that the mother, as an informer, sold the baby to Rome. That's what those birth certificates are for. Then the marriage certificates, DAR, codes noir, which means they sold all the eggs in the uterus and the fallopian tubes to the popes of Rome. That's what the marriage certificate is. And that's filed in the Department of Orphans, which automatically makes the children not descendable, even the unborn.
Wow.
And then the reverend gets a kickback for delivering them to the Pope in the name of Jesusness. It forestalls that. And just like the Wizard of Oz, you see when the good witch, the good wise woman, said, "Hey Doc, I noticed that you was checking out them Gucci kicks." You know, because the house fell on the bed witchy. And her red ruby slippers were sticking out from underneath the house. And so Doc said, "Oh, I'm just so scared. I just want to go home." And so the good witch said, "Don't worry about a thing, Doc. Got your cover, girl. Ching!" And then there's red ruby slippers jumped on. Said, "Oh, check this out." Anyway, point being is that the house dropped on a bad witch, right? In my father's house, there's many mansions. Houses of the Zodiac, get it? And then her socks curled up. Stockings curled up. So when you start making your claim, all them stocks they got around the world in the treasuries, remember the treasury, they don't get compensated because they transfer the treasury to popes of Rome? Yep. Oh, all right. So they start curling up, don't they? So, any nation state that bought into them UST bonds to support their human trafficking under those bottomry instruments curls up. They ain't no good. So how long do you think the rest of the nations of the world can keep on playing this game with this Roman while their treasuries are curling up and are absolutely worth less. It's kind of hard to keep that game up, isn't it? So they're going to have to get rid of them T-bonds. Meanwhile, so write this down because I'm going to start cutting out because of time. Those stocks are dying. They're trying to dump them as fast as they can without crashing their economies, which is crashing anyway. And everybody's trying to avoid to tell the heirs of the estate what's really been going on, which is you. Then the Europeans trying to claim to be sovereign Americans, which they're not. Then with the Special Committee of 24 set forth with the nations of the earth, particularly reinforcing since 1960, which is the decolonization of all colonial operative governments, with the Aboriginal people being nationalized concurrent with the activation of decolonization. It has not taken place, therefore the heirs are behind the curve while the politicians, and they're paid off for a few pieces of lead, zinc covered stuff that they think is money, selling their own people out. So this is again why we're doing this, because as soon as this stuff goes out, it starts killing the rest of the stuff that they got. So you don't necessarily need to know a lot of other stuff. You just need to start demonstrating that you're a little bit competent. So we're telling you why you get this stuff studied too. It's not complex, but do study. So we try to make sure that you have some support literature, etc. This is what this is for. Excuse me just 1 minute, you all. I'll release this thing. This is what this is for, and as it goes out, I suggest that you study because they're trying to liquidate, meaning that how many people know that all of the ports along the west coast of the entire continent, except for a couple of them in Mexico, all belong to China now? How many know that? How many know that 60% of all of your major prime property in Lower Manhattan now belongs to China? How many of you know that Chase Manhattan's, JP Morgan's main building worth about $4.5 billion was sold to China 2 years ago for $720 million? How many people know that that longshoreman strike at the Twin Ports in Los Angeles and Long Beach are not strikes, they're embargoes, blockades? How many of you know that those oil tankers here in Philadelphia since November that just left a couple weeks ago, offloading is an embargo? Well, you better catch up with what's happening in the real world because it's happening right around you. Do you understand? How many of you know that all of the stores, Target stores in Canada, closed down? And that they're moving stock to stores here to make it look like we got some stuff left, y'all? How many of y'all know that Sears is getting ready to close down? How many of you know that Radio Shack's getting ready to close down?
Yeah.
How many of you know that a lot of you JP Morgan's getting ready to close down? How many of you know that some of your major food chains is getting ready to close down? How many y'all know that y'all in trouble?
Everybody know that.
All right. We're not going to go on because you can know we can be here all night. But we love you. We thank you for coming out. Again, Sabrina, you was out before, but you're not out now. Stand up. Stand up. They make it happen. And you know how they say, behind every good man is a good woman. And she makes his brother work, and I love this brother, and I love this sister. To me, you're a rare jewel, and you're blessed. Give her a hug. They make things happen. Give them a hand. Brother Samaya, come on. This brother go way back. Yes, sir. Low key. And let me tell you about culture. This brother knows the culture. And he come out here to share with us some information. I wish we had some more time. And all I can say, Shemaiah, do your thing, brother.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Joe. Brother Sunrise Serene. Just if you let me hook up, when Brother Taj get down ready.
Oh, just a minute.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not rushing.
Just a minute.
The reason
I know.
why, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, excuse me just a minute. Sis, is there someone I see in the audience that's over there with the technical skills and ability? Can you come up here just for 1 minute? Don't you even try to act like I don't see you. But I know. The sister, we gotta back our own, y'all, because we gotta fix some things.
Are you talking about me?
Oh, yes. Now, some spiders attacked her, but she ain't gonna tell you that. But just drop a little bit. I want you all to know that Rashay is running for mayor.
Okay.
Sister, intelligent, and she's licensed in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey as an attorney. And she knows the background of the barristers, but understand that our heart is for us. We'll be distributing some information so everybody can give her some support. And we don't have the mic right now, but drop a little bit.
Okay. Hotep, everyone.
Hotep.
I'm here today because I actually wanted to come out to see Taj in action. This is actually the first time I've actually seen him and actually teaching a crowd. I've had several private conversations with him, teaching sessions actually, and he's actually enlightened me a lot. You know, there's a lot that I know, but there's also a lot that I don't know. And one of the reasons that I am running for mayor is because I really believe in our people, and our people need help right now. And one of the things that I am about is I'm about action and not just talking. Now, I was on my way to New York, okay, moving. However, what needs to be done right here, right now, because of everything that's happening, you know, Taj, he mentioned a lot of stuff that's happening, like with the embargo and everything. What's going on right now is that, you know, the time for us to act right now is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, it is now. And if we don't act now, then we're doomed. And that is the reality. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter, you know, what you have, what you don't have, because this is about our people. And our people are not ready. They're not ready. So what I am doing right now with my team and is that we're actually building a new party. And the party is called the Universal Party, okay? And the Universal Party objective is to restore the Republic. That's the objective. And then, you know, and in restoring the Republic, what does that mean? That means enlightening our people so that they will know their status. All right, because if they don't know their status, what's to come? Okay, historically, if you know history, if you know what has happened legally, what happens is if you don't know who you are, then what they do is they throw you into concentration camps. And that is to come, and it is coming. It's happening now, whether you believe it or not. And I'm here, and like he said, okay, I'm licensed in 3 states. I see what happens when I go into the courtroom. I see how they treat our people, okay? You're guilty before you even step into the courts. And knowing what we know is not enough to just know. We have to share the information. We have to enlighten these people. We have to bring them we have to make sure that they know what is going on so that when the time comes, they will be able to save themselves. Otherwise, they'll remain slaves and they will throw them into concentration camps. And it is our responsibility, it is our duty, it is my duty to do what I am doing. I'm not doing this because I want to be mayor. I am doing this because I must do this. This is my purpose, this is my responsibility. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for somebody else to step up to the plate and say, wake up, people. So what I'm here to do is to ask for your assistance. We need volunteers. We need individuals who are willing to run for office, because we want a slate. We want individuals who are going to be committed to this. You have to be committed to saving the people, not committed to your pocketbook, because it's not about the fiat. This is about the estate that we allowed for them to take from us. That's what it's about, because they could not have done what they did unless we permitted them to do it. And that's what happened, so we have to stop blaming them for where we are and just step up and take it back. And that's where I am.
All right.
All right? Thank you.
I say you.
Right. Excuse me.
Samaya, put on your Teflon skates, brother, and come on, moonwalk on
Yeah, I
over
got
here.
some heavy shoes to follow.
All right, good brother.
Yeah. Might hook this up real
Do you need
quick.
to hook it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Taj.
Right on the floor.
Nah, good, thank you.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, some of you know me already. I'm Tiger Ravenel. I'm one of the party leaders working with Rashia Harmon, concerned for mayor. And the party office, Universal Party, is at 1211 Vine Street. Okay, 1211 Vine Street. You can come there and register. We're suggesting people wait till after May 19th, because you still want to vote. If you're voting, you want to vote Democrat or Republican or whatever the issue is. But if you don't care about that and you want to really take charge and help us get this thing rolling, then just come down right away and register Universal. Okay, 1211 Vine Street. Okay, we're there. Where we've been working is 24 hours. So we're there Monday through Friday. Okay, day and night, pretty much. Thank you.
Tiger. Also, anyone needs notary, address, give them the location again.
Oh,
Tiger.
yeah, I'm a notary public. I've been doing a lot of excessive work concerning people's status with the Attorney General's office. So if you understand what the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure is, Rule 5.1. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure, Rule 5.1. That's the constitutional challenge against the statutes of that particular jurisdiction, in this case, Pennsylvania. And what happens is it allows you to change your status from where you are now to where you should have been, being in your own state. Pennsylvania has legislation under the Constitution as far back as 1776, and as recent as 1968, including all amendments, establishing that special law does not supersede general law. So let me give you an example. In 2005, Rendell signed into law that all insurance agents cannot renew their licenses until they file their tax returns. That's special law. I got caught up in that, not knowing about it until now. I got caught up about it and lost $850 because of that mess, okay? So special law, you do not want to interfere in what you're doing. When you're stopped on the street and they're giving you a ticket, they're interacting with you with special law, not general law. You do not have to be detained. Do you understand? So this kind of stuff, now I can't write it. You got to understand what it is. I can show you what mine looks like, and you'll get an idea of the work it takes to put this stuff together, and then you'll send it off. The Attorney General will not respond. Some history, go back to the 1863, the Libra Code. If you're not familiar with that, bring a disc with you, and I'll download it to you, or eventually have it emailed, or whatever the issue is, because that is the beginning of the war powers. By 1933, the War Powers Act was codified in Title 50, and that's the alien property custodian. You were seized, Okay, I'll repeat, you were seized. You were seized. And they pledge your, not money, your property, your estate, you. Everything you create, just like the Roman Empire went and took a land, and they killed a few people, but they left everybody alive, and so they keep reproducing, and they took what was there and left you enough just to survive. That's going on now, right? The job, right? Okay, that's what's going on right now. This is the Roman Empire extracting from you, and every time you produce something, they take it. That's one of the reasons why the banks can foreclose on you. That's one of the reasons why you're working so hard at the job, and they paying you from your trust, and not getting anything. The whole time you're volunteering to work at the job. You're not getting paid anything from them. So you're being rudely seized, and your life is being taken. You're drained, and this is what it's about. So with this constitutional challenge against the statutes, stipulating the statutes of Pennsylvania or some other state, whatever state you're from, you can actually challenge that. They will have to let you go. And they will not respond. They will not be able to respond because you're dealing with general law. Any other questions on that?
How to get in touch with you? You said one that's a statute.
No,
Yeah.
rule, no.
No, answer the question in the back.
Federal rule
Ty. Have him answer the question in the back, because he has.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to,
Yeah.
I got carried away here.
Go see him in the back. And remember the office. Rashad, stand up again, y'all. Give her a hand.
Once again, my name is Shemaiah Bey. The reason I'm here, Brother Jim asked me to come out, Brother Sunrod, Brother Taj. A little different than Moorish law, Moorish science that you all have been educated by Brother Taj. I was presented here, brought here with regards to our voice. And come to understand that the way the divine creator made us, that in addition to us having speaking power, there's a science within our voice. The science within our voice can determine why we have high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, some other type of disease in the body. How we determine that is by the vibrations in our voice. The way the divine creator made us, we have something called a throat. Most people are familiar with the throat. Most people have heard of something called laryngitis before. Have you ever heard of laryngitis? But laryngitis is related to something called, these nerves in your throat called the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal nerve. These nerves, if you ever, the light switch ever went out in your house, you had to go to the junction box and flip the switch. Well, inside of our throats, this number 9 nerve within our throat is responsible for when as our heart are beating now, our blood cells are replicating, as our bile is going in our pancreas, or our insulin is going in our pancreas, how our fingernails are growing, our hair, all this stuff is happening on a subconscious level, things that we don't have to worry about. With regards to that, that information is transported from our brain through the various parts of our body. With regards to that, in this junction box, also called the laryngeal nerve, recurrent to be exact, inside that, the information is being stored. So as I speak to you, as you speak amongst one another, as I'm talking right now, vibration is going over. Brother Taj mentioned earlier about our higher self and our lower self. The lower self will be called the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex, most people have heard of the third eye, called the pineal gland. This is inside here is called the prefrontal cortex. This is where we do all the logic. Should I leave now? Did I get the kids? What do I have to do later? That's all what's going on right here. But behind here, we have something called the amygdala brain. That's the fight, feed, flight, or freeze. So we're dealing with the functions of our brain and our body. But I'm here with regards to our throat and our voice to actually see what's going on. So once again, I talked about the junction box, the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and why there may be diseases in our body. Most people know we could be eating a lot better. We could be exercising more, getting a lot more sleep. But we may not know when we see TV commercials when they tell us to take a multivitamin. Might not know that you may not need a multivitamin. Your body might only need vitamin E. You might have an issue with vitamin C. But in order for you to find that, normally you would go to the doctor or to the clinic, Einstein and Jefferson. What you do, you take a blood sample, do a centrifuge, they do a couple lab tests, or you may have to do a urine sample depending on what type of disease you may have in your body. We're on the cusp of the Star Trek age. Well, depends on where you are in your status of being. Some people will still be in the Flintstone era, but those are not the Flintstones cartoons and things of that nature. But right now, I'm on the cutting edge, or people now, you're all being introduced to the cutting edge of this particular science called bioacoustic. Bioacoustic. Bio means life, acoustic means sound. So living sound. I don't know if many of you are familiar with, there's two brothers, from Clark, Atlanta. Not too long ago, CNN just had them on TV. And for people that are in to fire extinguishers and fire trucks and things, okay, so with regards to that, instead of people using accelerant, not accelerant, but something to extinguish fire. What they used, they took, you imagine the little red fire extinguishers, and they have a hose, and normally foam comes out and mess up the cook. So what they've done, they put a subwoofer on the end of the nozzle. So instead of foam coming out to extinguish the fire, they're using sound called low frequency sound. Low frequency sound. So that's the key. So when most people in here, most everybody in here is conscious, so you're familiar with HAARP, you know, High Active Aurora Research Project out in Alaska. They have Eisencat out in Russia. These are what they call high frequency. So sounds and frequencies will really jam a person up. So for our vibration, our vibratory rate, while we incarnated during this cycle, our particular body and our genetic structure requires certain minerals and vitamins than our alveolar counterpart. So our alveolar counterpart can ingest more acidic foods or cheeses and dairies. I wasn't coming here today to teach a more science class, but with regards to our genetic structure, it requires something called alkalinity, which means a pH. pH means parts hydrogen. So 7 is would be, we call from 0, will be bleach. For bleach, you know what happens, burn. You go to 14, it's called super alkalinity. That's what you got, well, I said acid is 0, and 14 will be bleach. So either way, too far on scale, really destroy ourselves. So when we come to consuming foods could be very destructive to us, as we all, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. What I'm introducing you to something you may not know, and what will help you is what particular foods or minerals that your body can take and cannot take. So within a 30-second voice sample, you can determine what your body's requiring, asking for. Once again, your body does the healing. So what happens is once you have the proper information and the proper foods, then your body will do what it needs to do. I mentioned the back of the brain, back of the head is called the occipital lobe. So when you're in a club and you hear that, there's another thing before I go further. Have you ever seen Star Trek before? They have something called the tricorder. They scan the person's body and they do the readings and stuff. We're, for the public's sake, we're not at that stage yet. But for behind like DARPA, the Department of Advanced Research, for those that don't know, that's where all they have the little toys and gadgets and things of that nature. But for us, we're only at the stage now. I can take your voice now, take a voice sample, and determine, say if you, some people at older age may have lived in homes or apartment buildings that had a lot of high lead content. And so they know that it's very destructive or harmful to our bodies. Our age, it gets cut down. We may be more prone to some type of disease. And as a result of that, we're at the stage now, I mentioned about the fire extinguisher using low frequency sound to put out the fire. We're at the stage, once again, it's something about the size of this cell phone here. It's a little thicker. It's called a tone box. So I'm going to do a 1 or 2 demonstrations so you can see. I'm not going to just talk about it, be about it, but demonstrate for 1 or 2 people so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. What happens is, in addition, because I'm in a public setting, so I'm not telling you not to take any of your medicine. I'm not telling you not to follow your protocol or what your standard doctor has given you. But what I'm saying is there's another tool available, or additional tools available, that you could put into your arsenal to help your longevity and your spirituality and your emotionality on this earth plane. So with regards to that, something called the tone box, I mentioned about lead earlier. If you had lead paint in your body, things like that. Just for example, what happens is sometimes it's very difficult to extenuate or to leave, to extract from your body. We're at the stage, once again, once everything vibrates, a frequency up and down, frequency. Yes. So depending on how fast that frequency or the vibratory rate determines on how your body's going to be affected. So if you're in a club, I don't know, many people have never been in clubs before, but I've been in clubs before, and how that bass hits you, what happens is, at the base, that bass sound, when it hits you, vibrates off your body. The back of your brain, once again, I call this the occipital lobe, back here. Most people know we've got 2 eyes facing out forward. We also have the pineal gland, for most people to know, even the paper you handed out earlier. It's also a rod and cone, shape of cones. But the difference here, instead of it being too spherical, it's in shape of a cone, and it's facing the back of your head, so it vibrates and in tunes. Well, what does this have to do with your voice? It has a lot to do with your voice, because your pineal gland, or your third eye, is responsible for what? Your intuition, your gut feeling. Should I get up and leave, or let me just hear him out? Is he crazy, or maybe there might be something to it? So with regards to that, the way our body designed, the divine creator, the divine femininity, the divine masculinity, whatever you subscribe to this divine energy, we've all been incarnated, like Brother Taj mentioned earlier, this earth vessel that we're in, but this is only our temporary house till we can navigate on this earth plane. We're actually all spiritual essence and spiritual beings. In order for us to be in tune to who we are and what we are, we have tools and techniques. Some people just got the gift. Some people are born with the veil, they just know it. But that's not part of our overall culture to be in tune with that extrasensory perception part of us. But once again, our Albion counterparts have devised tools and systems that they use to understand better on a greater level on how the body really works. So once again, I mentioned about the voice, and I mentioned about the intuition of the third eye. With regards to our voice, I mentioned about the junction box, the larynx, the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It's number 9 out of 12 in the socket. So with regards to that, we can have an understanding in addition to if a person is going, like the Sixers is not really doing as well this year because of their so-called code. But what happens is a professional athlete or just a general athlete could take a voice sample, which we're going to do a demonstration. I'm just dragging it out so y'all can, for the anticipation's sake. But with regards to that, they could know ahead of time if they're going to have an ACL tear, going to mess up their Achilles tendon, all because everything. Remember, most of us deal with future fears and past pain. Future fears and past pain. So that's pretty much what we live in. So our stress hormones is off the hook because life is stressful if we don't know how to balance it. Sometimes we hit, like the brother mentioned earlier about us eating improperly. A lot of times we know that we should be eating better, but we have a chemical issue that we're dealing with as well. So people that smoke down on crack or doing a bump of coke, shooting heroin through their toes and things of that nature, they're just as addicted as many of us, but we're addicted on wheat or sugar or some other type of opioid. And with regards to that, so now most of us know, unless we just psychopaths, know that we should be living a righteous life. But now that we have a chemical imbalance and we have an electrical or bioelectrical imbalance, it's going to be very difficult for us just to philosophize and say that we should be feeling better, should be doing better. We all know that, but once again, I mentioned about the reptilian or R complex that many people have heard or familiar with. That's responsible for our fear, flight, or freeze mechanism. So that really runs who we are. So no matter how conscious that we are, we know about the Spanish Inquisition, but then once again, we have electrical and chemical issue. So I said all that, stop here and say all that to say this. That in our voice also gives us, I mentioned about the pineal gland, it vibrates, it's a cone and rod, and you could just happen to know, like, I better not go on this bar tonight. I'm gonna use a better term. I better not go to this church this evening or this masjid because this information may not be conducive to me. So let me go here and deviate somewhere else. I'm gonna go be with my brethren on a Saturday afternoon and get some more knowledge and information. So with regards to that, that's that divine essence in us. Now that divine essence can be not only categorized, but it can be archived and be transmitted so all of us can see. So once again, as you speak, it can give you a personality profile. So for those that are in the law, technically, well, let me say that, let me reverse that. In certain social circles and certain three-letter groups, this particular science is currently being used and being assessed. I teach a course for the Pan-African Studies program at Temple University called Self-Discovery. And one of the programs we talk about with regards to our voice and what's going on with us, something called reverse speech. All of this goes to reverse speech means as I'm talking to you forward, simultaneously, matter of fact, we did a demonstration in the class not too long ago, simultaneously is another conversation going on. But we're not going to be doing that today, but we're going to be doing a demonstration for any volunteers, a person that want to speak. Okay, brother. All right, I got you next, sister. So we're going to do, I'm going to do a personality profile. How you doing, Shemaya? All right, thanks, brother. All right. So what I'm going to do here for the brother Madul, it's a program called the Nano Voice. Here, where's my Nano?
That's your cells.
Yeah, sure. Let me tell you. Program. Now, this particular program here, I'm going to ask the brother to speak for 30 seconds, if you could allow him just that 30 seconds of quiet, because normally what happens, just like when you go to your regular doctor's appointment, normally they're not taking something unless you got other issues going on. Somebody else is taking your blood test for you or your urine test. That's a whole other degree there. But normally, so when you're doing that, so when he could just give him a few minutes just to talk about whatever's on your mind, and then what we're going to do is see what type of vitamin or mineral or whatever that your body may be requesting. Okay. Okay. So do you find this interesting so far?
Yes. Very, very interesting. I'm excited. And elated.
So when you, I'm gonna show you how to hold the mic. So when you hold the microphone, just talk whatever's on your mind, what you're thinking or whatever. All right. Yeah, tell us your name, what's going on, what you're thinking about.
My name is Abdul Kareem Abdul Hakim El Bey, and I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, and I'm fascinated. I became fascinated by biology and astrology when I visited Black Noble Bookstore. What's this? Black and Noble Bookstore. I saw a book on biology, and I was like, wow. And they had a big picture in there, and I saw the makeup of the body, and I started studying the body, and I started studying astrology through some of the books that Taj and Sister Raz had on astrology. So I started studying both of them, and then I started learning those things, about those things. So, and it helped me a lot spiritually.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brother Herbert.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do now, the brother was very kind enough to share his voice with us. His musical, you got an audio book voice going on, you got a singing career voice going on. You got, let me see here. So what I'm going to do now, you're watching a demonstration here. I'm going to import Brother Abdul's voice into a program called Abacus. How many people are familiar with that word, abacus?
Yeah,
All right, that's what the Asian or Chinese used to use, a little, right, to do the calculation, little beads and little strings or whatever. So this program is, well, obviously it's a computer, so you know it ain't no beads and strings here, but they named the program called Abacus, but what it's doing is taking the vibrations from the brother's voice, and it's going to convert it to numbers, mathematics. It's our science, mathematics, so it's going to convert it, voice into mathematics. All right. Now, the technical term for this particular science is called bioacoustic, once again. If anyone ever seen TV and they had CSI, now they got Bow Wow on CSI, computer crime or whatever. The particular title that, because I do this by trade, I'm called a vocal profiler, vocal profile voices. So what as you can see here on the chart, you see the very thick blue area here. He has a long spike right here, right? Okay. Now, anything, I don't know, from the distance in the back, where I don't know if you can see the cursor, the mouse going across the screen right there. Yeah. All right. And that little area is a gray bar in that center piece right there. Yeah. That means the overall health status of an individual. For this demonstration, the brother here. So the overall health status, I don't expect anyone to read this graph and understand the chart, but I would like you to understand a few things. Anything below the line, that's what his body's asking for. Right now, I don't know exactly which vitamin or mineral or hormone that his body's requiring. But our divine creator has made us so great that even though if we drive a car and the red light is on for a minute, we got enough time to get to the store and put some oil into it. So we allow it to be on this earth plane a lot longer because our body's a lot more durable. But if we had the proper nutrients and information inside of our bodies, we'd be that much greater. So it's this individual brother. So under the line, his body's asking for something. Above the line, his body is saying that I'm having a little difficulty with this right now. So this right now is just for demonstration purpose. Put the brother's name here. All right. What's your last name? What's this?
Bey.
Bey. All right, brother. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make a fake birthday. 01. 1950, gender, male, we'll just say practice, say health. So right now I got to put the information here. I'm going to hit something called points. So what happens, those little red bubbles, that tells the computer program if I want to take my time and find out all the little bubbles, but I don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to let the computer do the bubbles. So what I will do this, because everybody heard about past, present, and future, past, present, future. And everybody, most of us all should know, especially from the teachings of Brother Taj, that time is infinite. But in this particular paradigm, in this flesh body, is finite, all right? So this is symbolic of this brother's life. So the first part right here, just for a quick thing, is immediate, what's happening within the last 24 hours. So right now, the top bubbles, well, I got my hand like you can see on the computer. This top bubbles here, that symbol, I've watched the graph so much, he's dehydrated right now, so the brother needs a little bit more fluid. So in this section in here, if you can see the little cursor from this area here, that determines from 48 hours out to 6 months. And from this long spike, that would be something we'll talk offline to see what your body's like. You know, I need this really bad. So obviously, y'all don't have to be a graphologist to understand it, but you can obviously see that he has a long spike there. That is something that's requiring attention. Right. All right. And so from 6 months on out to your mother womb, this is from here. All right. So what I'm going to do is save this just for time's sake. Put this in the file for the brother. All right. Put this in the file. And then what I'm going to do, put a date on it.
Would it help if I gave you the birthday?
I'll do it after.
Okay.
Yeah. But for right now, just for my catalog.
Right.
I'll build with you after. So what I'm going to do is open up a program here. There's several different. They have one for Ebola, allergies, but this one demonstration right here is just for the sake of his overall just general health. So what I'm going to do is open up a program. This one is a biohealth. Right here, open up a report. See how quick that is? Now this chart right here is a no correlate chart. If I had to do an investigation, overall he seems to be pretty good. These numbers, like if you see F, G sharp, A, things of that nature, if you see a number 4 or more, that would give the vocal profile and say, look, we got to pay some attention in this area. Specifically, the brother said, look, I got issues with my kidneys, pressure's really got me going, can you talk to me, help me out? So what that would give us, if I didn't know him and just like a lab report came, they had too much, if the voice report came in, then I would look and say, oh, this is how we do our investigation, but since we build in dialogue, and you would say, look, I got issue here, whatever. So what I'm going to do here, I'll take an example here, even though it's not really an issue, but just to show you what's going on. Anything that's happening with us physically, like if we got the gout, obviously, you know, we got too much acid in our blood. Well, maybe you may not know, but if you have a gout or joint problems or issues, that means that your body's a little too acidic. So once again, we talk about acid needs to be balanced out with something called alkalinity. So you're gonna get that from your greens, your certain other type of fruits and vegetables that would help bring your alkalinity up. Once again, we're chemists, I self-law and master, so we should be mastering ourselves. But the only way we can master ourselves is we have the proper information to do that. So, for example here, just for a demonstration purpose, like say for a person had an issue with kidneys or whatever like that, and I know it's your demonstration, but just for demonstration purposes. The note of F, when people, I don't know if you know singers that play music, saxophone, things of that nature, so you should know about the different tones and octaves on the scale. Once again, we're vibration. So your orange shirt is a vibration, your black shirt is a vibration, the white shirt is a vibration. Everything vibrates at a certain rate, so what determining how it vibrates is going to be, if it's going to be audible or visual. Audible or visual. But right now we're dealing with the audibility. So right now, once we know that if a person has a dis-ease or problem in their body as a result of something spiritual or emotional. So if a person has a dis-ease in their body,